What happens when one of Hollywood's most respected actors sits down for what should be a simple interview, only to face a host who thinks he can say whatever he wants? In just 33 seconds of one comment, everything explodes. Cameras keep rolling, voices get louder, and one man decides he has had enough. Laurence Fishburne walks onto the set with a smile. He is there to talk about his new project, something he has worked on for months. The audience claps. Piers Morgan shakes his hand, but there is something in his eyes. Something that says this interview might not go the way Laurence expects. They sit down. The lights are bright. Cameras point at them from every angle. Piers leans back in his chair like he owns the place. Laurence sits up straight, professional, ready to share his work with the world. Piers starts with a question. So Laurence, tell us about this new film. What makes it so special? Laurence begins to explain. He talks about the story, the characters, the message behind it all. He speaks with passion. You can tell this project means something to him. The audience listens closely. Everything seems fine. But then Piers interrupts. That's all very nice, but let's talk about something more interesting. Let's talk about your past roles. Laurence pauses. He nods. Sure, I'm happy to discuss my career. Piers smirks. You know what people really remember you for, don't they? The Matrix. That was, what, over 20 years ago now? Have you done anything as big since then? The audience goes quiet. Laurence keeps his cool. I've done many projects I'm proud of. The Matrix was incredible, but my career didn't stop there. Piers waves his hand like he is swatting away a fly. Right. But come on. Nothing quite hit like that, did it? Some actors get one big role and then just coast for the rest of their lives. Is that what happened to you? You can see Lawrence's jaw tighten. He takes a breath. I don't think that's fair. I've been working consistently, taking on roles that challenge me, that mean something. Piers leans forward, that smirk still on his face. But let's be honest. When someone says Laurence Fishburne, they think of Morpheus. That's it. One character? Don't you ever feel like you're living in the shadow of your own past? The audience shifts in their seats. This is getting uncomfortable. Laurence looks directly at Piers. I think you're trying to create a narrative that doesn't exist. I'm proud of every role I've played. I don't live in anyone's shadow. Piers laughs. Actually laughs. Oh, come on. Don't be so sensitive. I'm just asking the questions everyone wants to know. You actors are all the same. Can't handle a bit of truth. Lawrence's voice stays calm, but there is steel in it now. What truth? That I've had a long, successful career? That I've worked with incredible directors and told important stories? That's the truth. Piers rolls his eyes. You're dodging the question. Let me ask you something else. How does it feel knowing that younger actors are taking the roles that used to go to you? Must be tough, getting older in Hollywood, especially when you had your peak so long ago. The air in the studio changes. Everyone can feel it. Laurence stares at Piers for a long moment. Are you seriously asking me that? Piers shrugs. It's a valid question. Hollywood chews people up and spits them out. You're not getting any younger. The roles dry up. That's just how it works. Laurence shakes his head slowly. You know what, Piers? I came here to talk about my work, to share something I care about with your audience. But all you want to do is tear me down. Why is that? Piers acts surprised, but it is clearly fake. Tear you down? I'm just having a conversation. If you can't handle a few tough questions, maybe you shouldn't be doing interviews. Laurence lets out a breath. Tough questions? You're not asking tough questions. You're being disrespectful. There's a difference. Piers laughs again, louder this time. Disrespectful? Oh, please. You celebrities are so coddled. You live in your bubbles. Everyone tells you how great you are, and then when someone actually challenges you, you fall apart. The audience is dead silent now. Some people look shocked. Others look angry. Laurence remains composed, but you can see he is done with this. Challenges are fine, Laurence says quietly. But what you're doing isn't challenging me. You're trying to humiliate me, and I don't know why. Piers waves his hand again. I'm not trying to humiliate you. I'm trying to get you to be real for once. Drop the act. Admit that your best days are behind you. That's it. That's the moment. Laurence stands up. The audience gasps. Piers looks surprised, but he is still smirking like this is all a game to him. You know what, Piers? Laurence says, his voice clear and strong. I don't need to sit here and listen to this. I've spent decades building a career I'm proud of. I've worked with legends. I've told stories that matter. And I'm not going to let someone like you, someone who makes a living tearing other people down, tell me what my life means. Piers tries to interrupt. "Oh, come on, don't be so dramatic, sit down." But Laurence isn't sitting down. "No, I'm done. You invited me here under false pretenses. You said you wanted to talk about my new project, but clearly, you just wanted to attack me. To make yourself feel important by making me feel small, and I'm not going to give you that satisfaction." Piers stands up too now, his face getting red. "You can't just walk off my show. Do you know who I am?" Laurence almost smiles, but it is not a happy smile. "I know exactly who you are. You're someone who thinks being rude is the same as being honest. Someone who confuses cruelty with courage, and I feel sorry for you." The audience starts to react. Some people clap, others just watch with wide eyes. Piers looks furious now. "You feel sorry for me?" Piers shouts. "I have one of the most successful shows on television. Millions of people watch me. I don't need your pity." Laurence starts to remove his microphone. "Maybe that's the problem. You have all this success, all this power, and you use it to belittle people, to make them feel small so you can feel big. That's not strength, Piers. That's weakness." Piers points his finger at Laurence. "You're making a huge mistake. You walk off this show, everyone will know about it. They'll know you couldn't handle a simple interview." Laurence finishes removing his microphone and sets it on the chair. "Let them know. Let everyone know that I walked off because I refused to be disrespected. I'd rather be known for having self-respect than for sitting there while someone tries to tear me apart for entertainment." Piers is almost yelling now. "This is what you celebrities do. Someone asks you a real question and you run away. You hide behind your publicists and your agents and you never face reality." Laurence turns to face Piers one more time. "Reality? You want to talk about reality? The reality is that you're scared. You're scared that if you don't attack your guests, if you don't create drama, nobody will watch. So you pick fights. You insult people. You do whatever it takes to get attention. And that's sad. The studio is absolutely silent except for their voices. Production assistants don't know what to do. Cameras keep rolling. This is happening live, and nobody can stop it." Piers tries to regain control. "I don't need to pick fights. People tune in because I'm willing to ask the questions nobody else will ask." Laurence shakes his head. "No. People tune in because they like watching train wrecks. They like watching you humiliate your guests. But that doesn't make it right. And it doesn't make you a good journalist." Piers steps closer. "A good journalist asks hard questions. A good journalist doesn't let people off easy." Laurence doesn't back down. "A good journalist knows the difference between hard questions and harassment. A good journalist treats their guests with basic human decency. You don't do any of that." Piers is red in the face now. "Who do you think you are, coming on my show and lecturing me about journalism? You're an actor. You play pretend for a living. I deal with real issues, real news, real people." Lawrence's voice stays calm. "You're right. I'm an actor, and in my job, I work with dozens of people every day. Directors, producers, other actors, crew members. And you know what? I treat all of them with respect, even when we disagree, even when things get difficult, because that's what adults do. That's what professionals do." Piers throws his hands up. "This is unbelievable. You're actually going to stand there and act like you're better than me?" Laurence picks up his jacket from the back of the chair. "I'm not better than you. I'm just not going to let you treat me this way. There's a difference." Piers looks at the cameras. "Are you seeing this, everyone? This is what happens when you ask a celebrity to be honest. They can't handle it. They run away." Laurence walks toward the edge of the stage. "I'm not running away, Piers. I'm choosing to leave. There's a difference there too. Running away means you're scared. I'm not scared of you. I'm just tired of wasting my time." The audience starts clapping. Not everyone, but enough that it is clear many people support Laurence. This makes Piers even angrier. "Oh, that's rich," Piers yells. "You're going to play the victim now?" Poor Laurence Fishburne couldn't handle a tough interview. Laurence stops and turns around one last time. "You keep saying that, tough interview. But this wasn't tough, Piers. It was childish. You acted like a bully on a playground. And when the other kid decides not to play your game anymore, you get upset. That's what's happening here." Piers walks toward Laurence. "You don't get to walk off my show. You signed a contract. You agreed to be here." Laurence looks tired now. Not scared. Not angry. Just tired. "Then sue me. Take me to court. Do whatever you need to do. But I'm not staying here another second." Piers tries one more time. "This is career suicide. You know that, right? Nobody walks off my show and gets away with it." Laurence actually smiles now. A real smile. "Gets away with it? Piers, this isn't a crime. This is me exercising my right to leave a hostile situation. And if standing up for myself is career suicide, then so be it. I'd rather have my dignity than your approval. The audience claps louder now. Some people even stand up. Piers looks around, shocked that people are supporting Laurence instead of him. Sit down, Piers yells at the audience. This is my show, my studio. You're here because I allow you to be here. But the audience doesn't sit down. They keep clapping. Some start cheering. Laurence waves at them, a small gesture of thanks, and continues walking off the stage. Piers is losing it now. Fine. Leave. Nobody will care. You're yesterday's news anyway. Your career peaked 20 years ago and everyone knows it. Laurence stops at the exit. He doesn't turn around this time. He just speaks loud enough for everyone to hear. If that's what you need to tell yourself, Piers, but we both know the truth. You're the one who's scared. Scared that without the controversy, without the drama, you're nothing. And attacking me won't change that. Then he walks through the exit. Just like that, he's gone. The door closes behind him. The studio is in chaos. The audience is on their feet. Some are cheering, some are arguing with each other. Production assistants are running around, not sure what to do. Piers stands there, alone on his stage, looking furious and embarrassed. He points at the cameras. Keep rolling. We're not cutting away. This is live television. This is what happens when celebrities can't handle reality. But his voice sounds hollow now. Everyone can see it. He tried to tear someone down and it backfired. The audience isn't on his side. They're angry at him. They saw what he did. They saw how he treated his guest. Someone from the production team comes out and whispers something to Piers. He waves them away angrily. I said keep rolling. The audience starts booing. Actually booing. Piers looks shocked. He holds up his hands. What? What did I do? I asked honest questions. Someone from the audience yells out. You were rude. You attacked him for no reason. Another person joins in. That was terrible. You should be ashamed. Piers tries to defend himself. I'm a journalist. My job is to ask tough questions. If he couldn't handle that, that's his problem. But more people are shouting now. The studio is getting louder. It's clear that most people think Piers crossed a line. He looks around, trying to find support, but there isn't any. Even his own production team looks uncomfortable. Finally, someone makes the decision to cut to commercial. The lights change, music plays, but the damage is done. Everyone in that studio, everyone watching at home, saw what happened. They saw a host try to humiliate his guest. They saw that guest stand up for himself and walk away. And they saw the host lose control completely. Piers sits back down in his chair. The audience is still buzzing with conversation. Some people are leaving. They don't want to stay for the rest of the show. Can't blame them. The energy in the room has completely changed. During the commercial break, you can see Piers talking to his producers. He's gesturing wildly, clearly trying to explain himself, but they don't look convinced. One of them shakes their head, another just walks away. When the show comes back from commercial, Piers tries to move on. He tries to pretend like nothing happened. Well, that was interesting. Let's bring out our next guest. But nobody is interested in the next guest. The audience sits there quietly, waiting. For what? Maybe an apology? Maybe an explanation? Something. Anything that shows Piers understands what he did wrong. It never comes. He just continues with his show like normal. But it's not normal. Everyone can feel it. The trust is broken. The illusion is shattered. People saw behind the curtain, and they didn't like what they found. The rest of the show limps along. The next guest comes out, some politician who wants to talk about their campaign, but even they seem uncomfortable. They probably saw what happened. Everyone saw what happened. Piers asks his questions, but there's no energy. The spark is gone. He keeps glancing at the exit where Laurence left, like he can't believe it actually happened, like he can't believe someone stood up to him. The audience barely reacts to anything for the rest of the show. A few polite claps here and there, but nothing genuine. They're still thinking about Laurence, about how he handled himself with dignity, about how he refused to be treated poorly, even on live television. When the show finally ends, Piers gives his usual sign-off. That's all we have time for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Piers Morgan, and this is my show. But it sounds different now. Those words, this is my show, they sound desperate. Like he's trying to remind everyone, including himself, that he's supposed to be in control, that he's supposed to be the one with the power. The lights go down. The audience files out quietly. Production assistants start cleaning up. And somewhere, Laurence Fishburne is probably feeling relieved. Relieved that he trusted his instincts. Relieved that he didn't stay in a situation that felt wrong. Because that's what this whole thing was really about. not about tough questions or honest journalism. It was about respect, about basic human decency, about treating people, not like props in your show. Piers wanted drama. He wanted conflict. He wanted to create a moment that people would talk about. And he got it, but not in the way he expected. Instead of looking like a tough journalist who doesn't back down, he looked like a bully who got called out. Laurence, on the other hand, looked like exactly what he is: a professional, a person with self-respect, someone who knows their worth and refuses to let others diminish it. The whole thing lasted maybe 15 minutes. 15 minutes that changed everything. Because once you see someone's true colors, you can't unsee them. The audience saw Piers for who he really is. Not a hard-hitting journalist, not a fearless interviewer, just someone who likes to make others feel small so he can feel big. And they saw Laurence for who he really is too. Not a fading star desperately clinging to past glory, like Piers suggested, but a man with principles. A man who worked hard his entire life and wasn't about to let anyone disrespect that work. You know what's interesting? Before Laurence stood up to leave, maybe some people agreed with Piers. Maybe they thought the questions were fair. Maybe they thought Laurence was being too sensitive. But the moment Piers started yelling, the moment he lost his composure completely, everyone's opinion changed. Because if Piers was really in the right, he wouldn't have gotten so angry. If his questions were truly fair and honest, he would have let Laurence leave with grace. He would have said something like, "I understand you're upset, and I respect your decision to leave." But he didn't do that. Instead, he got defensive. He got loud. He tried to humiliate Laurence even more as he was leaving, and that told everyone everything they needed to know. The cameras captured it all. Every word, every expression, every moment of tension building until it finally exploded. This is the kind of thing that gets replayed over and over. Not because it's entertaining in a fun way, but because it's real, it's raw. It's two people having a genuine conflict, and one of them handling it much better than the other. Laurence never raised his voice. He never called Piers names. He never stooped to his level. He simply stated his case, explained why he was leaving, and left. That's powerful. That's how you maintain dignity in a difficult situation. Piers, meanwhile, did everything wrong. He got emotional. He got personal. He tried to use his power as the host to intimidate Laurence into staying, and when that didn't work, he lashed out. Think about what this says. Think about the dynamic here. Piers invited Laurence onto his show. Laurence accepted in good faith, thinking they would have a normal conversation. But Piers had other plans. He wanted to provoke. He wanted to push buttons. He wanted to see if he could get a reaction. Well, he got a reaction, just not the one he wanted. He wanted Laurence to get defensive, to argue, to engage in the conflict on Piers's terms. But Laurence refused. He took away Piers' power by simply leaving, by saying, "I don't have to participate in this." And that's what really made Piers angry. Not that Laurence disagreed with him, not even that Laurence called him out, but that Laurence took away his control. In that moment, Laurence had all the power. He chose to leave. He chose not to engage, and there was nothing Piers could do about it. The audience understood this. They saw who was really in control. They saw who handled the situation with maturity and who handled it like a child having a tantrum. After everyone left the studio that night, what do you think people talked about? Do you think they talked about Piers' tough questions? About his bold journalism? No, they talked about how uncomfortable they felt, about how wrong it seemed, about how glad they were that Laurence stood up for himself. This is the thing about respect. You can't demand it. You can't force it. You have to earn it. And you earn it by treating others with respect first. Piers failed to do that. He thought his position as host gave him the right to say whatever he wanted, to be as rude as he wanted, to push as hard as he wanted. But Laurence showed everyone that position doesn't matter. Title doesn't matter. What matters is how you treat people, and if someone treats you poorly, you have every right to remove yourself from that situation. Think about all the guests who probably sat through similar treatment on that show, who bit their tongue, who smiled politely even though they felt attacked, who stayed until the end because they were afraid of the consequences of leaving. Laurence did something different. He showed that it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to say, "This isn't acceptable, and I'm not staying." He showed that protecting your dignity is more important than finishing an interview. The whole interaction really came down to those 33 seconds. 33 seconds after Piers said, "Admit that your best days are behind you." That was the breaking point. That was the moment everything changed. Before that, maybe Laurence would have stayed. Maybe he would have tried to salvage the interview. But those words, that disrespect, it was too much. And good for him. Good for him for knowing his worth. Good for him for not accepting unacceptable treatment. Good for him for showing millions of people watching that you don't have to tolerate disrespect, no matter who it's coming from. Piers learned a lesson that day, whether he admits it or not. He learned that his platform doesn't give him unlimited power. He learned that people will only take so much before they've had enough. He learned that trying to tear someone down can backfire spectacularly. The silence, after Laurence left, said everything. That heavy, awkward silence where nobody knew what to say or do, where the energy in the room had completely shifted, where everyone realized they had just witnessed something significant. This wasn't just a celebrity walking off a talk show. This was a statement about respect, about dignity, about knowing when to walk away, about refusing to be anyone's punching bag, even on live television.